Okay guys, Path of Exile 2 has been released and we've been wanting to play this game for a long time, and I'm going to give you my early impressions as a long-term player that's played PoE 1 since the game released, and I'm going to give you the feedback from the guild. I don't imagine GGG will watch this video, but we always live in hope, so I thought I'd put my opinion out there on the game, because we have some good points and some bad points, and I think my viewers that have watched me play PoE for many years might be interested in my thoughts. I've had people ask me what do I think about the game, and you know, here we go. I'm going to run you through some examples and words. So graphic wise, fidelity wise, theme wise, everything about the game in that area is such an improvement from PoE 1. It's fantastic. You have loaded into the area where I last was signed in. I can see my character list here, the MTX I'm wearing and the gear. It's just super high quality. I'm not going to show you any spoilers or any bosses. I'm just going to give you a few examples and kind of talk you through gear and stuff like that. I think there's just a few things that are making the game feel a little bit laborious for my guild, and they're easy changes. However, I want to fully clarify, I don't think the game should make any changes for quite a while until we suss out how the game works, because for now we might be awful builds. The build that I've made is my own. Awful gear. We don't really know how to play the game optimally, and we're only just getting used to it. For example, yesterday I was getting more used to the roll and collision mechanics, and it's all new. So I'm not coming here to say, hey, these are all the things you should change. And I think anybody saying that's a bit crazy, simply because we don't know where we are in the game right now. Path of Exile 1 is very easy to level in. For me, I'm super experienced and know all the ins and outs. For new players, it's still really difficult. On a new league start, PoE 1 is still quite difficult to level up, and sometimes you do get a bit screwed over if you choose the wrong build or you don't get a drop or anything like that. And we know what we're doing. Oh, I need some cold res, it's my veil. On this, we don't really know what we're doing. I don't know what boss I'm about to bump into. I'm doing it totally blind. So we have to bear that in mind. However, there are some things that, do stick out to me and everybody else in the guild. So gear wise, I'll just run you through what I've got. That way in the future I'll be able to look back on this. I alked this level 7 lightning bolt, and I got it had +3 to all lightning skills, which I thought was amazing. I augmented damage as extra lightning, I regaled spell damage, and I exalted crit. I'm pretty sure this is a good weapon. Before that, the last good weapon I had was this staff, and I exalted on the lightning damage onto this weapon. And this carried me for a while. Before that, I was just using something very basic. My gear at the moment is just life resists. That's all I've managed to find, and boots with movement speed, which, by the way, I genuinely feel if I didn't have 15 movement speed on my character, I think I would have died to every single boss infinitely more times. And I probably would have failed my ascendancy, because I was able to outrun some of the fire and stuff like that because I was much quicker. And I think movement is absolutely key, and we'll talk about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Zone 1, and I'm just going to read you some of the basic feedback from the guild, and then you can sort of let me know how you feel about this. So my guild so far, we haven't got everybody added. If you want to join, feel free. But we have some people in the guild, right? So these are initial thoughts from people that have either done the campaign or are into the campaign. One of the things, the problem with PoE is it doesn't feel as satisfying. The skills don't feel as punchy. The shatters don't quite explode like they do on PoE 1, and the loot doesn't feel like it's worth the difficulty. Even when you were leveling on PoE 1 and struggling, there were some mobs that would come at you that you could blow up and it would feel good. And I think that's a really important point, because I'm totally okay with ramping up the difficulty and it being slower. Trust me, I'm absolutely okay with that. But there should be some monsters that occasionally you bump into that you can one-shot. So for example, I'm now a high level character, right? So I can one-shot these. And this is my arc skill, right? However, it still feels a bit like there's such a wind up because I don't quite have cast speed, or that's how it feels. However, it would be nice if occasionally you joined a zone And whether you're, obviously here I'm 26 levels over the zone, hence the one-shotting, right? However, there should be some monsters that come up to you that you can just instantly kill. Maybe they don't give as much XP, but maybe they just fly at you and you can kill instantly, because that just feels nice. It doesn't mean it has to be overpowered and, stuff like that and give you loads of loot and XP, no. But there should be, in each zone, a few enemies that you can just kill comfortably, because everything is a struggle. If we go to a zone, I am currently level 26. Let's go to a level 16 zone. So I'm still 10 levels over the zone, right? Maybe I bump into one, maybe I don't. However, most of the enemies will begin to face a challenge, So we are still kind of one-shotting stuff here, right? These are just some basic white monsters. That's okay. These all feel nice. It chains. There's some shatter when people hit me, and it feels good. I will say that the combat, at times can feel good and at times can feel very bad. Like if you roll into the wall, then you can get surrounded. I have no movement skill. Luckily, obviously here, I'm quite overpowered for the zone, so it works. But you can see that one of the main issues people are having in my guild and from feedback is the roll, because you have no movement skill and it doesn't give any phasing. If you roll, there's a slight slowdown. So you roll, then there's a little slowdown, and then you get going again. So quite often you can simply be outgunned by movement, and there's nothing you can do. You can't run away from it, you can't roll away from it, and eventually you just die. And that is an infuriating experience. We will begin to learn how mechanics feel, how mechanics feel and all of that stuff. Like, for example, I might look at a monster now and go, this guy chases me down, I'm going to stay away from him, I don't have the damage. It's all a learning process, right? Fidelity-wise, graphic-wise, everything about the game feels nice, but sometimes there is just a problem. I'll see if I can pull it up right now to show you, because I know the zone that was causing me some problems. I'll give you some more feedback whilst we wait. So if I go into my guild, these are some of the feedback from the guild. Graphics are stunning. The game is a lot slower than PoE 1, which I'm not a big fan of, but I can adjust. The game focuses on multiple skills being used tactically instead of one skill that nukes, which I'm not a fan of. Combinations can take a lot of time. Now, I'm okay with combos if it feels satisfying. Leveling is very, very slow. The game is good, but let's let it cook. It's only early access. I don't see myself returning for league after league after league if the gameplay is this slow. Somebody said I'll play this for a little while longer before giving my thoughts. But so far it's been good. The 2 flask limit is often killing me in boss fights, but I guess that's their intention. Act 1 is kind of slow, and Act 2 is picking up speed, which is good. I've ran into some bugs such as right clicking, etc., but these are just early access bugs. My guess is the people that complain about it being slow haven't reached endgame yet or completed the campaign. PoE Act 1 without speedy flasks and boots is very slow too. Yeah, I agree. Like, we're not trying to say that the game needs to be super, super zoomy. We know what to expect. Animal here says, the game's decent. I really, really enjoy the graphics and everything, but I feel some of the mobs are overtuned to a bit where they're just killing me instantly, or the player is undertuned. Seems like they've tried to slow the game down a lot, but got the balancing a little wrong. The dodge roll's really frustrated. I might be doing it wrong, but the roll itself, afterwards you get a 1 second slow. So monsters that are slightly faster than you just chase you and pummel you till your flasks are out and you hit the graveyard. It's pretty rage-inducing. But other than that, the game is pretty solid. It's never going to be the same as PoE 1. And the vast majority of the other thoughts are we're okay with the game being slower and having a lot more difficulty. And I actually really like the fact that you have to do the fight in one go. I thought I wasn't going to enjoy that, but I actually do enjoy the one go at the boss. However, I think in maps, bricking a map because your character isn't quite good enough to do the boss could be frustrating, because you're not going to know if you're able to do it until you go in, and you might not want to risk it, or you might have to play a better build. You might think, oh, I don't want to keep ripping my maps, so I'm going to have to play a meta build or whatever. But where were we? I think we were. You know, there is a balance, right? When you finally kill the good boss, there has to be a reward for it. And so far, the loot, I'll be honest, is... I understand what they're going for, and I come from PoE 1, and I played PoE 1, where there was no crafting bench. However, say, for example, you get a white base. There are no alterations, so the only thing I can do with this, I can alch it, or I transmute and then augment. If that gives me something bad, that base is now useless. And so I have to find a new base, because there are no scours and there are no alterations. So it means that, yes, bases late game probably will be expensive or useful because you can brick a base, but it just simply doesn't feel good. You know, maybe this is the only plate belt I've managed to find throughout the campaign. If my augment and transmute, you know, goes wrong, it's finished, really. Yes, I can regal and exalt if they were super common, but they don't seem that common. But they obviously don't want you to have a load of good gear. Things that I've found have really helped me so far are gains charges per second, keeps me alive. But again, you have to augment that on. And so it means I can't just pick up flasks and try and, you know, re-roll to get something good. You have to kind of get lucky, and all of the gear is so far entirely luck based, which is what PoE 1 used to be. You know, you weren't able to just craft boots with move speed. However, you know, this is a zone where I am the correct level of, right? So you can see some gameplay where I am the correct level, and every single monster is a kite backwards kind of fight, which I'm totally okay with, and I'm totally okay having to play the game a little bit smarter and slower. It feels like they want PoE to be a bit like Dark Souls, and they want you to say, hey, I completed the campaign with my character and I defeated all the bosses, well done. Whereas PoE 1, it was just a matter of time to complete the campaign, and then you're into endgame. Whereas there might be situations, say, where people don't make it through the campaign and they have to make a new character, or they give up, or whatever. And that's cool for a one-time experience, but would I want to do this league after league after league? That's my big question. Because again, yes, doing this and kiting this white monster back and back and back with arc, okay, that's cool to get through it once, but would I want to have this experience every single league? The other thing that people spoke about in my guild a lot was the passive tree. And again, I don't think my gear's bad. That doesn't look like a bad weapon to me, you know? And I've taken every damage node possible, right? So far, my gear is, my tree's looking like this. And we all sort of have the same, air quotes, problem with the tree. It feels like leveling up on the tree is not giving me any power, which is strange because all of the nodes seem good. They seem impactful and powerful, but it feels like we're not gaining much from the tree, which is strange. Again, you know, I'll read someone else's. I know it's only early access, but it feels like I'm playing Ruthless. It's pretty tedious, and it feels like my passive tree isn't really affecting my gear at all. There isn't much meaningful loot when it does decide to drop, and I sort of keep getting baited to finding out when my character gets a bit stronger. I look at passives 4 or 5 levels down and think, okay, I'm going to be strong now, but I never end up feeling strong. I'm not going to put myself through this campaign every league start if it's this slow in the future. I mean, I get it, you know, this isn't, as well, the people I talk to, they're not like 12-year-olds that are mad that the game's slow, you know what I mean? Like the sensible people, and they're not just raging or anything like that, so I don't want you to think something like that. But what they're just trying to say is, like, right now, I'm using the highest level gem I possibly can find. I'm using the best weapon I can find, and it still feels very brutal. When I look at the tree, I've taken spell damage, lightning damage, lightning pen. I've taken shock magnitude. I've taken LE damage, and I'm now going to attack and cast speed. That's where I'm going next. And I've basically only taken damage, and because there is no life on the tree, it feels like the only options I really have are getting stat nodes to lightning nodes. And if that doesn't work, I don't really know where I'm going to get my damage. I can maybe expect a crit, but the tree, weirdly, although there's loads of nodes, it feels like it's not impacting my character as much as in the PoE 1. And again, we don't know the tree. I don't know how to build, so I'm not trying to say this is perfect, but I have made my own builds in PoE 1 and I have done everything in the game. And so far, we all seem to be having the same experience, that it's not quite as impactful as we would have liked. You know, it's getting there, you know, it's improving. My character's getting a little bit better. Things like this, you see, I get surrounded and I have to roll out of the way. That can be a skill issue, right? I understand. Can be a skill issue. We have to learn how the area works. You know, for example, maybe I want to use Spark down this corridor and get it bouncing off everything. But it is a brutal slog. Would I want to play this brutal slog every single league? I don't know. Maybe the character I'm playing is bad. Maybe the build I'm playing is bad. But this is the particular area yesterday where I actually signed out because there was 2 rares next to each other that leaped on me. And I simply didn't have the move speed to get away. And with this slow, and with me having to kite back like this, and when I roll, you know, it slows me down and then you begin to pull, it can be a very frustrating experience, you know. And now, here we go, I'm stuck now. So I have to kind of get out of the way and be a bit tactical. Now, when you, like there, that's playing smart, right? I didn't panic, I got out of the way. So, but if I'd have slightly moved wrong there, you can end up wedged against the wall and dead. So you could say, player skill. I get it, you know, you have to play smarter, and I'm okay with that. You know, that there doesn't annoy me. I'm okay with playing a little bit smarter and a little bit more tactical. But again, there are some areas and some monsters, maybe they're just overtuned, you know. That could be entirely possible with early access. But it is such a slog. And it's so hard to get gear and get stuff to drop that, honestly, if I didn't have 15 movement speed boots, you see how I'm kiting here? I think I'd be screwed. I genuinely think I'd be screwed. I've got 2 double 30 shocks and a +3 gem. And I'm fully spec'd into lightning. You know, and this is a white monster. You know, that took 5 or 6 lightning bolts with 2 30 shocks with my ascendancy. And I'm using +3 with all the damage possible, so I don't really know how I'm going to get more damage. White monsters are basically blue monsters now. That's how I see it. You know, and the game's a lot tougher. And honestly, I'm okay with that if it feels rewarding. But so far, there isn't much reward going on. I know they don't want to, what's the word, give us so much so early, so the power creep starts. But there does have to be something. I think my main point here, to wrap up the video, because I won't talk forever, is in an ARPG, the one thing everybody wants is the power fantasy. I want to go from a weak character to ramping up. Ramping. Maybe it gets there. I'm beginning to feel a little bit of ramp. I am. But I feel like the tables are slightly turned in a way that's frustrating people. You know, if I didn't have the 15 movement speed boots getting slammed like this, it could just be player error. You know, it might just be you have to roll back. Oh, okay, now I recognize this is that enemy. These guys jump on me and then the AoE slow. So next time he jumps, I'm going to roll, right? Like that. You know, you could say player skill, but what I'm trying to get across to the people that maybe are looking at the game is not, go play PoE and blast enemies and ramp up and get fed and get excited, because it's not like that at all. It's a brutal slog, again, which is fine if you, at the end of the brutal slog, you're rewarded and you get power. However, it feels like I'm not getting much power. I feel like my drops have been kind of decent, to be honest, for things that I've seen from other people. My weapon seems good. You know, dropping the 2 shocks on people seems useful, but it's it's just a little bit. I think I've got to ask myself, am I having fun? I'm having fun because the game's new and I really, really enjoy PoE. Would I be having fun if this was my 4th character and I was going through this slog? I don't know. And I'm just being honest with you guys. I'll always be honest and fair. I think the game visually looks fantastic. I think it's exciting when you go into an area and you're like, man, look at these graphics and there's a chest there. Like, the reason that chest feels impactful is because there is no loot. So I understand the balance they're trying to go for. If loot was coming out of the wazoo, then would I go for this chest? No. So I totally understand what they're going through. And I'm actually okay with loot being a little bit more scarce. I'm not a big fan of the level of power I'm feeling through ascendances or through the tree, to be honest. In a strange way, the main gripe most of my guild has at the moment is the tree. It feels like when we're getting nodes, it's not boosting our character to a point. Like, normally, you might head onto your tree and be like, man, when I get this Ellie damage when shocked, I'm going to pop off. When I get this shock magnitude, we're going to pop off. When I get this extra chain, oh man, we're going to... But honestly, I feel like if I was to get all these passive nodes right now, I'm still going to be sick shotting that white monster. It hasn't... Leveling up on the tree hasn't felt as impactful as we would like. I'll just leave it at that. I like the pause feature. I love the graphics. I love the theme, the music. This was the area here. This here was the area that really, really annoyed people yesterday. So here, this is a perfect example. They might have different mods, but yesterday when I went to this zone, there's 2 big guys that spawn. One had an invincibility aura, one had a slow, and they were just jumping on me over and over and over again. And even though I had move speed, look, so I've got move speed boots here. If I didn't have move speed boots, I'd be in trouble. And honestly, am I going to be able to kill these guys? I don't know. Yesterday, these guys killed me about 6 times. I simply don't have the move speed or cast speed to get away. And if they landed on me and they pulled enemies, I was in trouble. Now, today, I've cleared much more of the zone. So when I'm backpedaling now, I'm not been surrounded. And maybe that's the play. You know, maybe as we learn the campaign, we go, okay, this area is a little bit difficult. You want to clear before you kill it. Because if you pull these guys into a pack of monsters, we're in trouble. But you can see here, you know, if I didn't have 15 movement speed boots, and yesterday, these were not the mods I was facing. Yesterday, he was hasted with, like, invincibility aura, and you can see how quick he is. I have no way of getting away from this, right? I just have to run, and it can feel bad, because I have 15 movement speed boots. I can't roll. If I roll now, he will hit me. So, you know, I'm kind of getting to grips with it, and this is a perfect example of PoE 2. Yesterday I was really struggling with this. Today I've cleared the area and I've actually managed to kill one of them. Yesterday I couldn't kill any of them, right? So you could say, hey, listen, skill gap, skill issue, you know. But I'm telling you, it's just RNG, the mods you get, right? This guy isn't hasted. Yesterday he was hasted and he was slamming me and I was just being absolutely annihilated beyond belief. So we're going to hit him with conductivity. We're going to drop double shocks on him here. And you can see this is a rare. I'm absolutely okay with thinking, all right, this is a rare. I need to get the zone cleared if this guy gives me a big reward. But look at the struggle of this fight. Maybe I'm not even meant to kill this guy. You know? I don't think I can kill this guy, I'll be honest. I think that just might be too much of an issue. But you see that you see the little slow after I roll. It means kiting this guy is really difficult. And I'm glad I've managed to catch this one on record because honestly, like, yeah, is this fun? I mean, if I thought to myself I'm going to get a big reward for this fight after, all right, I might rate it. But I know I'm going to probably get nothing. And it's just like, is this fun once? Wow, I finally killed him. Yeah, maybe. Do I want to do this every single campaign to every single rare? I mean, I'm using a +3 staff and I'm fully spec'd into lightning damage, and I'm double shocking him for 30%, which you would imagine, you know, should be doing something. Maybe I need to bring him into a smaller area and like spam spark, you know. Maybe that's the skill issue. You know, maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to shotgun him with spark. But it is just it is a struggle, man, I'm telling you. Like, I have no flash charges, right? I'm not getting any flash charges. So if he hits me, I'm pretty dead here. I'm going to have to run away. If this guy had life regen, I am never killing this guy, right? For sure. So I can spam spark here, you know. Can I arc him? But you know, I'm just trying to demonstrate here that this is not an uncommon thing. You know, you will get rares that just destroy you. And to be honest, if I died here, this would just really, really annoy me. It's not a very enjoyable experience. You know, you could say bad passive tree, you know, bad skills, but should a rare monster be this difficult? You know, I cannot... I'm only surviving because I have 15 movement speed boots. If I did not have 15 movement speed boots there, I would be dead. And I don't like that, to be honest. I don't enjoy that. I'm going to continue the video until I kill this guy just because, you know, for internet memes, really. I'm going to have to be careful here. You know, he's cursed. I have 27 lightning pen. I'm also cursing him for 33. So he's like negative 30 lightning res with double shocks. You would imagine, you know, I was cooking. There's my reward. Let's have a look. I got a trial of ascendancy. Now maybe that's why he was so difficult. Maybe that was a mini boss. But I'm putting it out there that I basically got nothing there. You know, so yeah, that might be a slight exaggeration because that might have been some mini boss with a checkpoint. But I'm telling you for a fact, I have had rares exactly like that in the campaign that I've had to just give up on, that I cannot kill no matter how much I kite. And I'm only surviving that due to movement speed, which I don't like, because now I'm thinking if I'm to play this class, I have to get 15 movement speed boots or I'm screwed. So I'm really, really enjoying the game. I don't want to put a dampener on it. I am well enjoying the game. It's just, yeah, that sometimes I'm like, it needs to be a slightly rewarding, you know?